Happiness is a state of mind. Hello and welcome to my discussion about positive energy, something I meant to do months and months ago, as I have done a discussion about chapter 1 and 2 when I began working through this book. But first, The Empath Survival Guide, also by Judith Orloff. I originally borrowed this from the library and decided it was a book that I would continue to refer to, so I went out and made the purchase. That's why I do recommend that if you have the opportunity, give a book a test run through your public library first, whether it's a physical copy, ebook, audio, whatever works best for you, which can help you decide if it's something you're going to refer back to. Now, this is Life Strategies for Sensitive People. On page 1, she talks about her own background and she provides a definition. I'm a physician with 14 years of conventional medical training at USC and UCLA. I'm also an empath. In my medical practice of over 2 decades, I specialize in treating highly sensitive people like myself. Though there is a spectrum of sensitivity that exists in human beings, empaths are emotional sponges who absorb both the stress and joy of the world. We feel everything, often to an extreme, and have little guard up between others and ourselves. As a result, we're often overwhelmed by excessive stimulation and are prone to exhaustion and sensory overload. In her first book, there are a number of tips and suggestions as she goes through a multitude of situations. At the end of each chapter, she has an empath affirmation. So at the end of chapter 5, I will protect my energy around draining people. I'll learn how to set healthy boundaries. I will learn to say no at the right times. I'll listen to my intuition about the relationships that are nurturing for me. My plan is to eventually write some of those, as well as quotes out from this book, on index cards and place them around my home, same as I've done with a number of other things, including the 5 Reiki principles. Today I want to chat about Judith Orloff's other book, Positive Energy. Now this is 10 extraordinary prescriptions for transforming fatigue, stress, and fear into vibrance, strength, and love. Definitely something we need to focus on in 2025. I originally started reading this in February. The plan was to work through the 10 weeks it's set up as a program. Now, because I've been doing this type of thing for over 20 years, probably closer to 30 actually, and if you've watched my book audit videos, I had these 2 shelves originally with all the self-help books stacked up high. So this stuff isn't new to me, but I do enjoy reading different authors and seeing what they have to say as well. Now at the end, this includes a new reference guide to the energy exercises. That was something I particularly enjoyed because instead of having to flip through the 10 weeks, she has a nice reference guide at the back, and she also includes some suggested readings to continue on with the work. I really wish more authors would do that, but I find more and more with the newer publications that isn't something that happens. Authors tend to mention their own work, but unlike Orloff and a few of the others, they tend to forget there are a number of other amazing books out there with great tips and ideas. As I say, the plan was to go through and work through each week and do the exercises and activities. As I started reading it, it occurred to me I've already done these a number of times, but it was a great read because it validated a number of things that I now currently do, things like my Life is Great Because list and other strategies that I've put into place over the years. The other thing I appreciate is in the first part of the book, she talks about you can do these within a week per chapter. You can stretch it out if you need to. And that's the really important thing, whether it's Orloff's book, The Artist's Way, which she also mentions here, or other programs of that type. I do think it's important to make it work for you. So if life gets busy, don't stress out about, oh, I should be in 2 week whatever, or I'm not getting these exercises done fast enough. That defeats the whole point of reducing stress and self-care. So as you're working through these things, personally, I suggest if you're getting behind 1 week, then you're getting behind 1 week. It isn't a big deal. The book is still there, the exercises and activities are still there, and you'll get back to it when the time is right. Like I say, I started this in February. I'm recording this on September the 22nd. So obviously, it took me some time to not just read the book, but get my notes together to make a video about it. And no, I don't feel guilty. That's just, there were a lot of things going on this year. Other things came up. I've had my notes ready, and I needed to be in the right frame of mind to do particularly this video about positive energy. Now, chapter 3 has to do with diet, fitness, and health. And I appreciate that she mentions in here, talk to your healthcare provider before you start doing any changes with your diet or a fitness program for sure. For example, and I have shared before in some of my yard videos and other videos, I have an issue with my lumbar. I have twisted vertebrae, I have stenosis, I have arthritis. So I'm not about to just pick up a book that says, oh, these exercises, or watch a video and see the exercises and just start doing them expecting relief. I need to carefully think about my condition, what I can safely do, and go from there. I'm lucky in terms of diet. I don't need to wiggle and do things with that. But I do need to be mindful of medication because there are certain medications I take to stay pain-free. And whether that's checking about allergy medications or other things, I do need to check with my pharmacist and sometimes go in and talk to my doctor. And I highly recommend that people do that as well. Whether you're on medication for pain or mood, whatever your prescription medication is, always make sure to check with at least your pharmacist if you're going to take something else. Yes, that does include if you're thinking about taking different supplements. Medications all have an impact together, so better to be safe than sorry. Chapter number 4 is about generating positive to counter negative. An example with that is if you're having a thought, either I'm lazy or I'm not doing enough or I'm not getting enough things done, then you need to turn those negative self-talk messages around. So it may not be that you're lazy at all. Maybe you're suffering from depression right now. Maybe you're just not getting enough sleep, or there's a lot of big life things going on and you just don't have the energy to do something. So look at the message and look realistically at what is going on in your life right now. Affirmations are a great way to turn that stinking thinking around. And remember, when you're doing affirmations, put them in the positive and as you've already accomplished something. An example of an affirmation I may use is, my YouTube channel is growing. And it is. I'm not specifying a number. I'm not putting an unrealistic expectation there. I'm just simply stating that the channel has some growth. And that's important to remember when you're doing affirmations. Make sure that they are achievable and realistic. If you need to get some extra training or do some extra studying, meeting other people, then make sure you follow through on those steps to make what you're hoping for a reality. Because again, and I've talked about this in other videos where I discuss law of attraction, you cannot just sit on the couch or sit in a chair, have a thought, put it out to the universe, and expect the universe to do everything for you. It does require work and effort on your part. Also keep in mind, you may do all the right steps, the training, the whole bit, and it still may not work out. A perfect example from my life, this is my treatment room. I went through, got my certification for reflexology. I have my master teacher level in Reiki. My plan was to have a home-based business with a client base, and that didn't work out. I closed that business a number of years ago. And yes, I could be all pouty going, well, I spent the money on all this training. I did this 70 hours of practice work to have clients. Ugh, the universe hates me. No, it doesn't. It just means that was not what I was meant to do long term. And when I look at that situation, I mean, the room was amazing. When I look at that situation, I love seeing this picture. The room was amazing. It had awesome vibes. It just simply wasn't meant to be. Now that room has been changed. Now that room has been changed. It's where I'll be doing my reading from books for my channel, and that's okay. That business closing decision is what led me to YouTube, and I've made so many incredible connections because of that. People I can chat with daily, people I connect with throughout live streams or on their videos or in comment sections. So, no, I don't feel bad that the business didn't work out. It simply wasn't meant to be, and there was a lot of growth and learning that came from that experience. I've already mentioned about what I call my Life is Great Because list. I started that during my back injury 16 years ago, this month actually. And initially, when I started this list, all I had was I got out of bed, I got dressed. That was it. I had 2 things on my list. Over the years since then, my list has become much longer. I have a journal with an inspirational saying on the front of it where I continue to do that. So again, in there, I put things that are going right. You know, what's going on with the day? Is it sunny? Is it mild? What have I got? Now I'm happy to say that list is, of course, much longer. And it doesn't have to be filled with huge things. It could be as simple as the sun is shining, the temperature is mild, I got to see a cardinal, whatever it is that has significance for you. And you may call your list something else. I decided to go with life is great because, for me, that puts my mind in. I decided to call my list Life is Great because, and then I finish all the points, because that sets me thinking of all the things that are going right, things that I'm working towards or hoping to accomplish. But you may decide that you want a different title for your list. So again, figure out what's going to work best for you. You may want to do it on a computer instead of handwritten as I do. There's so many different ways to incorporate these types of things, and trial and error. There are some things you'll find work great, and there are some things not so much, but you won't know that until you try them out and then tweak them to find out what's going to work best for you, and most of all, what's going to fit realistically in your day-to-day schedule. Chapter number 5, or prescription number 5, is about heart-centered sexuality. Here she talks quite a bit about the chakra system, if you're familiar with that, and the energy centers that go through the human body. The first chakra, of course, is in the groin area. The color is red, and then the chakras move up from there. Heart is green in the center and ends at the top with the crown chakra related to spirituality. So throughout this book, she talks about her practice, which she calls energy psychiatry. I did mention about her medical training, and she does have a private practice focusing quite a bit with highly sensitive individuals. In the chapter on sexuality, she makes the important point that this isn't just about physical interactions between two people. It also relates to our passion in life, and what I call what makes your heart sing. In other words, what brings you joy, what makes you happy, what gives you that sense of peace. And again, that's going to be different for everybody. So taking the time to figure out, what is it that's really interesting you? What is it that you want to learn more about, that you get excited learning more about? Or what makes you peaceful and joyful in terms of, is it spending time with other people? Is it maybe you need some more time alone? All of this is about being honest with yourself and figuring out what is going to help you become the best person that you want to be. Number 6 is about inspiration and creativity. This, of course, is where she mentions Julia Cameron's The Artist's Way. That is a 12-week program based on, again, learning about yourself, tapping into what brings you joy, what brings you peace. I did mention during my live stream the other day when we were doing the Jack trivia, which was so much fun. But in there, I did mention the artist date when we were talking after the trivia game. And that is, you make an appointment with yourself once a week, each week throughout the 12 weeks of the program. And you don't invite anybody else. That time is specifically for you. You may schedule an hour, you may schedule 2 hours, it's entirely up to you. But that time is for you to have some fun, whatever that looks like for you. Maybe it's having a bubble bath with a glass of wine. It could be coloring for the afternoon, or it could be going out to get some craft supplies you've been wanting to look at, or going for a walk and just enjoying the sights as you're out and about. Again, the key is what's going to bring you joy and what's going to bring you peace. And most important is do not cancel your date with yourself. Think of it as equally important, because it is. If you had an appointment with a doctor or a specialist, you wouldn't just willy-nilly cancel it because you have something else to do, and your artist date is no different. Making time for yourself and taking care of yourself is, and always should be, priority number one. Because if you're not taking care of you, you're not getting proper rest, you're not eating properly, and you're exhausted, you don't have much to give to other people. So priority number one, making sure you're at your optimum so that you can give to other people and be there when they need you. And I would hope that you have people in your life who will understand and appreciate that you taking care of yourself is not being selfish. It's you making sure you have that extra energy to take care of others as well. Number 7, prescription number 7 is about laughter, pamper, and a retreat. Again, the big focus here in part 1 of this book is about self-care, making sure that you're enjoying the best medicine there is, which is, of course, laughter. You may discover that through reading a book, watching movies, maybe a TV program, whatever it is, hanging out with friends. Again, it's going to be different for everybody, so you're really needing to take a look at yourself and what's going to get you laughing, even if it's just for a few minutes a day, focusing on that. When I was an educational assistant, I worked in a variety of different schools. Many of my students I knew were having a difficult time after school. School was their safe place. So my focus was getting them to at least laugh once a day, because I knew, sadly, once that last bell rang, they wouldn't be having much to laugh about until they returned the next day. Pampering yourself. So maybe you do your nails, color your hair, spend a pajama day and just enjoy staying in bed, reading books. Pampering yourself. So that could be getting your hair colored, doing your nails, having a pajama day just for fun. Again, taking a look and really considering what is it that you would enjoy doing. Might be doing a face mask, as I did on my multitasking book haul video, which worked out great. Had an awesome face mask, got a video done. So that was a bit of pampering while getting something else accomplished. And that, again, is the key to making sure you find something that can work within your schedule. And a retreat. A retreat doesn't necessarily mean that you go somewhere and spend a weekend or spend a week. If you're able to do that, awesome. Book the trip, go and enjoy. But if you can't do that financially, like me, then there are many other ways to have a retreat. For me, it's my backyard. I've shared quite a bit in terms of yard tours and the different things I'm honored to see and blessed with having to come and visit. It may be you have a room in your home and that's your private space. So you may go in there to watch videos, read a book, do exercises. Again, really taking a look at what is going to work for you and what can you realistically do, both in terms of space and finances, other commitments. But there's some way that you can do all of this. It's just taking a look at your life and picking and choosing what's going to bring you the most laughter, help you feel the most relaxed and refreshed. Because again, the key is taking care of you means you have all that extra energy and love and good feelings to reach out and support and take care of others. But you have to be in your good place first. The last part of the book, the last 3 prescriptions, all have to do with positive relationships and energy vampires. Now, prescription number 8 is about positive people and situations. So really take a good look at family interactions, friendships, partnerships, what needs, if any, some fine-tuning, and what relationships, if any, need some fine-tuning? Do you need to set some boundaries? Do you need to start getting familiar with the word no and not feeling guilty about that? So assessing where things are. Assessing where things are. Chapter 9, prescription number 9, deals specifically with energy vampires. And no, these aren't the vampires like Dracula and others. These are people who literally suck the energy out of you. And once you take a look at the different relationships, you'll start to recognize those individuals. They're the people who are always, no matter what is going on, complaining, turning things into the negative, and after you've spent time with them, you're just exhausted. And I mean, we all vent, we all spew, and that's a good thing. You need to get it out, not carry it inside. But with energy vampires, it isn't a just sometimes blowing off steam. I mean, these people are skilled at knowing who to hone in on, and they just go on and on and on constantly. So it's a good thing to look at, how do you feel after spending time with someone? What kinds of things are you talking about? Do they even give you a chance to talk about anything going on with you? Or is everything in the conversation always about them, what they're going through, what they need, and then off you go realizing, wow, they didn't even ask how I'm doing. So again, really taking a serious look at the relationships, how things are going, and just like in the other prescription, honestly assessing, are there some situations where you need to make some changes? And sometimes, sadly, that may mean leaving some people behind. Because if they're always dragging you down, if they're not supporting you, if they're not helping you, and if they're immensely toxic, then you need to make some tough decisions. That is entirely up to you. There are some toxic people you might be able to set boundaries with, but you need to decide for yourself what is the best decision. Can you try setting boundaries first, see if they honor and respect those, or is it sometimes sadly time to say goodbye? And yes, I have done that with people in my life, some that I've known for decades. And once I sat down and really took a look at things, it was like, what am I doing here? This is not healthy for me, and I've had to say goodbye. Number 10 is about creative abundance, and this comes into, of course, law of attraction, your thoughts, what is it you're hoping for and aspiring towards, being realistic in terms of setting the goals, getting the additional training if you need it, getting to meet other people who can help support and guide you or provide you with the training that you need. And this again is going to be different for everybody. What you decide is success is not necessarily going to be the same as what I deem as successful. Different people have different financial goals, overall goals. So you really need to take a look at what is it that is abundance to you. I look at things like, what different nature do I get? For me, it's about the different visitors in my yard, whether that's fur, feather, or plants. It's about being able to enjoy my books and having the luxury of now and again going out and having a fun thrift bookstore haul. For other people, it will be entirely different with different financial values, different places, things they want to do. Some people enjoy traveling. Again, it's about what is your goal and what is abundance for you. And there's no right or wrong answers. The important thing here is being honest with yourself and deciding, is that something that you want to work towards, and then figuring out the steps to get there. And the next part is taking those steps, not talking yourself out of what it is you want to do or want to try. And sometimes you may reach the goal and realize that isn't really what I wanted, but take a good look at everything you've learned throughout that process. For example, like my home-based business that didn't happen. There were a lot of amazing spin-offs because of it. As I mentioned, the book finishes with a nice summary of the exercises as well as suggested readings. Let me know if you've read anything by Judith Orloff. Let me know if you've read anything by Judith Orloff. Have you enjoyed her work and found it to be of benefit? The next book that I'll be going on to, and part of the reason it's taken me so long to make this video, is that I want to read Emotional Vampires, Dealing with People Who Drain You Dry. This is by Albert J. Bernstein. I picked this up at my local thrift bookstore quite a few book hauls ago. I just haven't gotten to reading it yet. But I decided to go ahead with this video anyhow rather than keep waiting, and Emotional Vampires will go in my to be read soon box, and I'll give you an update after I've read it. Until next time, remember, be safe, be well, and big hut. Until next time, remember, be safe, be well, big hugs, and don't forget, self-care is crucial. It is not being selfish.